Welcome everyone to our MS in Counseling virtual information session here at Johns Hopkins with the School of Education. Just to introduce myself, my name is Eliel Acosta. I'm an Assistant Director of Admissions here at the School of Education. And we're more than thrilled to have everyone this afternoon to learn more about the program. Just to give everyone kind of a general overview of what the next hour looks like, we'll be kind of walking together and talking about the key highlights of the MS in Counseling program, the admissions requirements, the admissions timeline, financial aid, and then we will also introduce two of our faculty members who are here with us today in a bit. And then at the very end, we will have time for a Q&A session. So as we kind of go through the next few slides, if questions arise, feel free to start putting them in the Q&A function. And then at the very end of the presentation, I will field those between myself and our two faculty members. But I'm going to go ahead and get started just to give everyone a general overview of the School of Education here at Johns Hopkins. So our total enrollment is approximately 1,741. We have 109 full-time faculty, 15 joint, emeriti, or courtesy appointments. On average, we typically award 920 degrees, and our alumni is of 24,000. You can see the breakdown in terms of our demographics between female and male. We do have about 24% of international students coming from 47 different countries. We're continuously ranked number 8 in the best education schools by the U.S. News, Worlds, and Reports. So that just kind of gives you a small kind of window of what the School of Education looks like here at Johns Hopkins. But I'm going to go ahead and kind of move this program along. Today, here with us, we have two of our faculty members in counseling. So Dr. Lauka and Dr. Burt. At this point, I'm going to transition it over to them. So as they'll talk more about those key highlights, and also allow them to introduce themselves. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And again, welcome everyone. I'm glad to hear of your interest in the program. So my name is Dr. Justin Lauka. I am a clinical assistant professor here at Hopkins in the counseling program. I teach primarily within the clinical mental health counseling program. I'm a licensed clinical professional counselor. My clinical focus is around depressive disorders and anxiety disorders with adults. The courses that I teach primarily, I teach a lot of the clinical and skill application courses, such as cognitive behavioral therapy. I teach counseling techniques and do a lot of the back end supervision once you all are in your field experience working in an actual setting, provide supervision as well. That's a little bit about me. I'm going to hand it off to our illustrious faculty, Dr. Burt.
Thank you, Dr. Locker. Definitely appreciate the word illustrious too. So I feel the same way. So hi, everybody. My name is Dr. Isaac Bird. I'm an associate professor here at Hopkins. A little bit about myself. I do teach in the clinical mental health, but I also have some overlap with school counseling. So I do teach some of the school counseling classes, primarily counseling children and adolescents, and that is something that's mandatory for school counseling students, and it's an elective for clinical mental health. My research interests, they vary. I primarily look at, I mean, it's constantly evolving, but looking at biological basis of behavior, but look at the intersection of that with culture. I also look at historically disenfranchised and marginalized groups such as Black, Latino, Asian, LGBTQ+. I also look at group work with individuals that may not be particularly well suited for just individual therapy as well. So that's me in a nutshell. So with that, I'll pass it back over to the illustrious Dr. Laka.
Oh, well, thank you so much. As you can see, we have two specialty areas, but we are really one program. You know, we see within the counseling profession, we are one unified profession with distinct specialties. And so we have a school counseling as well as clinical mental health counseling specialty. We are located in the education building, which is of course on the Homewood campus. However, the education building, the good news is it's going through a very significant renovation. And so those that might be entering in the fall of 2025, you would be joining us on the Mount Washington campus, which is in Baltimore. And sometimes when we say Mount Washington, people think Washington, D.C., just down the street. And it's a nice facility that will be there, our home for, just about another year or two, I believe. But this is where we're located. And we can move on to the next slide. So this is, of course, our mission statement, which is the fundamental purpose for why we exist and what we're committed to. And so, not to read things verbatim, that you can see what we are committed to and what really the end goal is. We really seek by the end of students leaving this program that they become socially just school counselors and clinical mental health counselors, implementing theoretical, empirical, and practical frameworks, and really wanting to focus and emphasize improving the well-being and having a more broader global view. Sometimes we can get a little myopic and in terms of our westernized U.S. Lens, but really that is what we seek to commit to prepare students to. And Dr. Burton, you can feel free to add if there's anything you would like to add to that.
Yeah, I think that you encapsulated everything. I just want to piggyback off what you said about coming from a myopic viewpoint. And I will add this word of socially, or these two words of socially just. I think even when we take a global perspective, we always come from our own viewpoint. And I like giving this metaphor. Culture is like something that you marinate like meat in if you like to cook. No matter what you put in that meat afterwards, it's still going to have the flavor of what it was marinated in. And that's the culture of wherever that you may come from. So even if you come from China, Istanbul, you have an idea what socially just is. But when you come to Hopkins and you see there's other people from different countries, or we have the US, we have people from Africa, we have people from Europe, you see the idea of socially just can range. And that actually helps to expand your view of what is just socially just. So it's not, as what Dr. Locke said, from a very myopic perspective. So that's just what I wanted to add to that.
Very good. Thank you. So we can move on. So just a few of the program's features, as you can see, of course, we are accredited by CACREP, which is the Council for Accreditation of Counseling Related Educational Programs. And again, that sets a certain standard and recognizes the level of quality of the program. And of course, CACREP standards, those reflect nationwide the state licensure board requirements as well, which gives a little more ease and access when it comes to eligibility for licensure once students leave the program. Another more recent feature that we are proud of is being STEM OPT eligibility. So being STEM approved, this is really particularly useful and helpful for international students. It provides a significant advantage, especially when students are wanting to leave the program and become licensed. It gives additional time, and so there are other benefits around it as well. Dr. Bird, if you have anything to add, you can always feel free. Okay, well, let's move on and talk a little bit about the course sequences. So as you can see, this is our sequence of courses and offerings. Just a few things to note here. We have clinical mental health and school counseling. There are shared courses that all students take because those are fundamental within the counseling profession that we as a faculty and consistent with our accreditation standards, important. We also develop, and you'll note the courses are scaffolded so that they unfold developmentally across the program. And we do this in a meaningful way to ensure that there are fundamental foundational skills and knowledge that pave the way and set the tone for additional skills and knowledge that will be needed in future courses. For example, when it comes to group counseling and group facilitation, those are unique skills that are needed and unique modalities, but without having proper context of basic listening skills and reflection skills, which are a part of it, it would be a disservice to, and students would be lost without having that foundational training. And so, just as an example, and Dr. Burt, is there anything else you want to touch on with regard to the sequence of courses?
No, I can proceed on and on, Dr. Locke. So, but I would just once again piggybacking what Dr. Locke is saying is absolutely correct. They build upon one another, and that's just a sequence that you'll just see if you're admitted into the program. Just professionally, there. I like giving metaphors. So a baby cannot, run before it can walk, before and it has to crawl first. And so a lot of these, you may see it as like you're crawling, but it'll get you to the opportunity to finally run and jump. And so it's a scaffolding process that builds upon one another, as what Dr. Locke stated.
Hey, one other thing I think is important, well, maybe two other things that might be important to mention. A lot of our courses are experientially focused, and in particular, we have multiple lab-based courses, and those are dedicated and specifically developed to have built-in lab-based practical application as part of the course requirements. And we do this would at least compared to other programs, I in my professional experience, we exceed the number of those types of lab courses, and so it's another, I think, distinct aspect of our program that we're proud of. You'll also note on this slide, this is the full-time sequence, which is 3 years, and that's how it is currently set. It might be helpful to note, and this will probably maybe a question down the line, since it's a very reasonable and common question about, is this the only sequence? And for full-time right now, we have a 3-year sequence. We are looking into the possibility for a two-year. That certainly hasn't been established, but that is a possibility. But this is really what the program is currently operating and offering and prepared to offer at the time. So we've mentioned the full-time. So this is a part-time, and really we have a full-time and a part-time tracks, really to try to broaden the scope of types of people and folks that come to our program in order to provide a maximum amount of flexibility. A lot of people may be working throughout the program and have unique contextual factors that play a role in how they are able to devote time to the program. And so this is just another option for those students. I think we can, yeah, next slide. Dr. Burt, would you like to talk a little bit about the electives?
Sure. So as we have here, as you can see, there is possibility for individuals to take electives. And this is sometimes somewhat different than other graduate programs where they have everything set. We give you some wiggle room here and some flexibility to take different classes that may actually help to shape the professional that you want to be. And not to read from the slides, as you can see from here, but there's things such as entrepreneurship, we have play therapy, and there's also very popular ones such as meditation and mindfulness and behavioral medicine and health psychology. And so it's giving individuals, like I said, different viewpoints that can help broaden and expand your professional dispositions. I will also say too that even though looking at this isn't all of the electives that we have, and I'll just speak about this because I've already mentioned it previously, but counseling children and adolescents, that is mandatory for school counselors, but it's an option or an elective for clinical mental health. And I'm just kind of putting that out there because I do teach that class. So if you are to be accepted, I know sometimes clinical mental health counselors think, oh, well, this is just for school counseling. However, the direction that I take it into has, still has a school counseling focus, but it's perceived through a clinical mental health lens. And I do that because individuals like for school counselors, when they're in schools and you see things in the news as like maybe students shooting up, doing things that are really bad for people, but where was that individual first seen? And they're first seen at a school. So I go through a clinical mental health lens to help school counselors be able to see individuals that may have some issues and pinpoint them at an early stage, as opposed to when they've already been gone through elementary, middle, and high, and they're in college, and now they're doing things that should have been detected at an early stage. So that's just a plug for the class that I teach, clearly, but also just showing that we do have a plethora of different electives that individuals can take. Can you go to the next slide, please? And so I'm going to talk a little bit. Dr. Locker talked about the different sequences that we have for school and clinical mental health. Dr. Anita Young, who is another faculty member in the program, and something that we're quite proud, she and Dr. Norman Day Vines have attained a $4.5 million grant. It may be 5 million. You have to talk to them to get the exact specifics on that, but they have a 5 million, 4.5 or $5 million grant that's called Reset. And this is for school, it's just for school counseling. And I do have to state it's for domestic students as well. And so that's just part of the stipulations of the grant. And so you can see here that this is actually, as opposed to the regular school counseling track and the clinical mental health counseling track, that this is actually 2 years. And so it's a little bit faster, but that's also due to the specifics and dynamics and the parameters outlined in the grant itself. And so I'm not going to run off the classes here because they're the same as they are with the regular school counseling sequence. It's just expedited and over the course, as you can see here, of about maybe a year and a half or 2 years. And so I'll talk a little bit more about this in the next couple of slides. So thank you for that. And so just to give you all just, for those that may be interested in this, this is something that is really very similar to what I stated beforehand. School counselors are first line of defense for when it comes to individuals struggling with mental health issues. I think COVID-19 really substantiated the need for mental health in schools, and this grant is, I would say, training individuals to be more receptive and understanding of what this could entail. So as it says right here, it's really creating this pathway to have these school counselors be able to detect and see things from an early stage while still enhancing those clinical mental health skills. The one good thing, well, there's several good things about this grant, but I would say the one thing that really stands out is that it's not just situated just for maybe an urban background, but as you can see here, it's also for urban, suburban, and also rural. And I'll talk more about the dynamics of the placements in the next couple of slides. So can you go to the next one, please? And so a couple of things here, just as you can see here, we have a picture of our program lead here, Dr. Bonner here, looking quite scholarly. But once again, not to just beat a dead horse, but really in the schools, there really is a lack of, it's just in schools, there's just not enough school counselors. And so part of this, as you can see here, is just not to increase just the number, but just the quality of that as well. And one thing that's really important that we have here, especially if you're from the States, you know that there's all type of students in schools. Even, look at public, you look at private, it's just not monoracial. But the thing is, a lot of the school counselors are monoracial or identify as one gender. And so as you see here, one of the other priorities is to increase school counselors with just the diverse backgrounds. So having individuals that of course can come from a different perspective, maybe conceptualize things differently. And so that's actually a boon to the myriad of different students that can come through elementary, middle, or high school. And so, definitely something that's also critically important here too is to have this evidence-based teaching practices as well, which what Dr. Locke already stated that we're having in here with having CACREP, which CACREP is evidence-based, indicating what is essential for school counselors and clinical mental health counselors just to know when working with individuals. Can you go to the next slide, please? And so I've said all these things, all these wonderful things about the reset grant. So you might be asking, well, that sounds great, Dr. Bird, but what is it for me? Besides, of course, a great education at Johns Hopkins. But one of several of the good things here is that there's 70% tuition reimbursement. I mean, that right there is a big one. You also get a computer and something that is really important. I talked about there's just not an urban setting, there's rural, and there's also suburban. One of the benefits of this grant is that individuals, yes, this is a face-to-face program here in Baltimore, in Maryland. The thing is, for school counselors that are in this reset initiative, you don't necessarily have to do your internship, which is the experiential classes, courses that Dr. Laka is going to talk about here soon. But you can do them all over the United States. Dr. Anita Young has been putting in a lot of work, her and Dr. Dave Vines, about finding spots throughout the nation. For example, I was speaking with a reset student recently, and they told me that he's from California, his wife is from Maryland, but they're doing their internship, they're in the program together. They're doing their internship in Atlanta. I think there's other ones that are doing it like in Texas, just a really good opportunity to really see how other schools and how other students, work and how you can interact with them. And once again, just saying this, it helps to get more clinical mental health. So it gives mental health enrichment or orientations really to enhance that clinical mental health aspect. Can you go to the next slide, please? All right. And so I'll just leave it here. We're talking about the reset grant. It also utilizes the broaching model, which if you've had the time to look at our faculty, you can see Dr. Norma Day Vines, who is nationally and world renowned and understood for having this broaching model. And that's really the basics of what this research program is, a research grant is, excuse me. And of course, there's ASCA, the American School Counseling Association. So I'm sure if Dr. Young was here, she would talk even more in depth about this. But if you do have questions, just please contact her and she can give you more detailed information that I may not have touched upon. I'll go to the next slide, please. And so, Dr. Locke, would you like for me to pass it back to you?
I would be happy to take
Okay,
this.
sure.
Thank you. So we had mentioned earlier our developmentally scaffolded curriculum and sequence of courses. And at the tail end of the program, all of the courses lead to applying the skills. And this occurs in practicum and internship. These are considered our field experiences. And practicum is also that first entry point into working and applying the skills in an actual setting. And practicum is a 3-credit class. There is a minimum of 100 hours that is required. And this is across the entire semester, of which 40 must be direct contact with clients. And during that time, you have, how I like to view this is you have multiple layers of support. This is probably the quintessential point in a student's career that they have so much support They will have an on-campus group supervision with the faculty supervisor. They will have an on-campus triadic supervision with the faculty supervisor while simultaneously having weekly supervision at their site. And all of this is designed to support the integration and application of the skills and knowledge acquired. And this is done in a very minimal, paced out timeline for practicum, which then builds into and builds up to internship, which is more rigorous and in terms of the level of challenging cases and responsibilities that you have. It might also be helpful to note that prior to practicum, as students are placed in a variety of different settings, and it looks different based on the process is different from a mental health counseling student versus a school counseling. But the mental health counseling, we have a wide range of partnerships and affiliations, working with agency settings and group practices and clinics and hospital settings throughout the DMV area. So the DC, Maryland, Virginia area. I think we can go on to the next, unless Dr. Bray, I missed something. Okay, so as I said, we build the practicum leads up to the internship, which is compared to the 100 hours of practicum, internship is 600 hours. Now with school counseling, it's a little bit different. You'll be placed in a K through 12 public school setting. Now, school students will be working. They can choose whether to be in a kindergarten up to middle school or I think high school. But I think at the end, whether in practicum or internship, at the end, you have to be placed in two different settings. So you have that entire K through 12 experience, which is a part of Maryland certification. So this requires, this can be completed in one semester, or it can be split across 2 different semesters. So at the end of the program, there needs to be 600 total hours in the role of school counselor with a minimum of 240 direct contact. However, there's a little bit of flexibility with school counseling. You can complete that in 1 semester, which would be a very busy semester and a very demanding semester, or 2 semesters across the duration of the program. Dr. Bird, anything you'd like to add?
No, I'm actually trying to answer questions too in the chat. So,
Oh, great.
Yeah, I don't have anything else.
So with CMHC, or clinical mental health counseling, so this is of course 600 hours, and these hours, these are accreditation requirements, which are of course also licensure requirements, that they are a minimum of 600 hours and 6 credits, where you are placed in a mental health setting. Now this, unlike the school counseling program, the internship must be completed across 2 full academic semesters, and this occurs in the fall to the spring. There are a variety of reasons for this. We also rely a lot on our partner sites and the capacity for them to take on interns. It would be very difficult and challenging for them to be able to accommodate students. And plus, we really do value having the opportunity to developmentally support across an entire year the acquisition of skills and knowledge for our student interns. I believe that's all I'd like to say about that for the time being. So the benefits of our program, again, we students that leave this program, they are eligible to become a national counselor, certified counselor. And one of the specific advantages is students can sit for the exam while they are still in the program. What also just adds to this value is that the national counselor examination, which you would sit for to obtain the credential for national counselor certification, also is the state licensure exam for all 50 states. And so you can leave the program having already taken the state licensure exam, which is a very added benefit to put you on an expedited path to get you licensed. Of course, there are other specialty certifications that are available for school counselors as well. And school counseling graduates are eligible for certification as a school counselor in Maryland. Dr. Burt, anything else you would like to add to that?
No, some candidates had questions that connected to that in the chat, so I answered that. So I think that I think I did my answering in the chat, Dr. Locker. Thank you.
All right, sounds good. We can move on to the next slide then. So where are graduates employed? Where do they find themselves? And Dr. Bird, if you, I can answer this or you can answer this. I don't want to monopolize the time here, but maybe you can kick it off and
No, it's fine. I have a couple other ones that I'm going to go a little bit later, so I can do the one after this. It's fine.
Oh, great. So where do our graduates find themselves? So, of course, one of the benefits of a clinical mental health counseling degree is the wide range of settings that you might find yourself. And part of this is related to the scope of practice. Once students are licensed, within that scope of practice, that is a wide scope where you are able to provide treatment and diagnosing and treatment planning and working with individuals, with couples, with groups, with children's, and a wide range of capacities. And these are just examples of common places that our clinical mental health counseling students and school counseling find themselves in. And of course, in addition to this, and I think Dr. Burt might touch on this later, a lot of our graduates go on for a doctoral study instead of going immediately entering into the workforce afterwards.
And yes, Dr. Locker, you set that up fine. So I am going to shift from answering questions in the Q&A and talk about this briefly. So as Dr. Locker stated, and as you know, if you're also looking at Johns Hopkins as a possibility, is that Johns Hopkins is the first research institution in the States. And so as such, we proudly carry that tradition and highly value research. And so we realize that students may also as well come in with a research mindset, even though we're counselors. I mean, clearly, where are the therapeutic modalities that we're getting information from? It's done through research. And so there are the possibilities of student research here. As you can look at, if you go to the website on counseling, you can see every single faculty member. I believe most of us, if not all, have our CVs up there, which gives an idea of the type of research, the type of therapeutic background, therapeutic inclination that we have. And so what we suggest is that you look at individuals. If you are to be accepted in the program, you look at individuals, faculty, and see like, wow, Dr. Locker is really big into CBT. I wonder if Dr. Locker is doing anything with that he may have maybe some positions for me to take a look at. And so we look at student research as being more initiated on the behalf of the student and reaching out to faculty members. And it just doesn't have to be faculty members in the counseling program. Clearly, there's people in the School of Education that are doing a number of monumental aspects in research in schools and just abroad, even in AI. And then that actually helps. We don't have a doctoral program at Johns Hopkins in counselor education at this time, but a lot or a number of students, as Dr. Locker talked about or alluded to, have gone on to use the research that they've worked with faculty and springboard that to a doctoral program. And while I know maybe a doctoral program isn't for everybody, for some individuals, it is. And I will state that coming not just from Hopkins, clearly, but having a background in research and having maybe presentations. I put in the Q&A that there's conferences that students can go to. There's national conferences such as the American Counseling Association. There's more statewide conferences such as the Maryland Counseling Association, which is a great opportunity for students to really get their feet wet in research. We also at Hopkins have things such as like EdFest, and there's also another one that I'm missing on right now, but a number of students have been a part of that, and it's a real good way to put forth research and to get feet wet. So when you are applying for a doctoral program, it looks very good to show that you've already become at least minimally involved in research. Maybe you've done a couple of presentations, maybe at the local or state or even national level, and maybe you've worked with a faculty member and had the opportunity to get a manuscript published in a peer-reviewed journal or a scholarly journal. So yes, hopefully that makes sense, and what we have here that can help individuals wanting to do more as they proceed in their career. Can you go to the next slide, please? All right, and so we also have what's called Chi Sig Iota, which is the Counseling Honor Society. And Dr. Yiying Shong is the faculty member that heads that. And just to give a little bit about that, like most organizations, most academics such as psychology and counseling have the Honor Society. And what I'll just give a little bit of a thing here. The honor society is something of a privilege, and it's not just something just to put on your resume or your CV. Well, clearly it can be, but it's a great way to become involved in the profession on a very basic and professional level. A lot of what individuals put forth that are part of this society, they connect, they help to put forth maybe seminars, so put forth workshops that just enhance people's ability to understand. I think there was something put in the chat, or the Q&A, excuse me, that asked about addiction. Well, that's a great way to get involved with Chi Sig Iota. If there's a need, or like, oh, well, CACREP says we only need this. I really wish we could have more trauma. Well, they can also get involved in contact and then have people that can give webinars, seminars, and also workshops on particular topics. And this is a great way to collaborate with individuals and get great leadership skills. And so to be inducted into Chi Sig Iota, you have, and I don't know, Dr. Locker, you can help me out here. You have to go through the first semester. I think you have to have at least your first like 12 or at least 9 credit hours, or 12 credit hours with a 3.4 or 5 or above to get an invitation to become a part of Chi Sig Iota. Dr. Locker, is that correct? Just help me
No,
out here.
I don't know. That sounds about right, but I would, not want to give out give false
That is
information.
true. That is
Yeah.
true. But I used to be the Chi Sig advisor at a former institution, so I know it's at least 9 credit hours. I think it's 12, and I believe it is a 3.4, 3.5. But like I said, we don't want to give inaccurate information, so take this with a grain of salt. So can you go to the next slide, please? All right, so now we can get to the nitty gritty here. So we have the admissions application requirements, which is on the website, and I don't want to read things off to you verbatim, but I'm an academic.
Dr. Burt, do you want me to cover this?
Oh, well, I mean, if you so choose to do so, I would not stop you from doing what you need to do, because you probably have more information on this than what I do.
Yeah, I can cover the next few
Sure.
slides. So we're going to transition to the admissions process and financial aid process, and I think at the very end there we have the Q&A. So again, I want to thank Dr. Burt and Dr. Lauka for kind of walking with us about the highlights of the program and kind of giving us some more in-depth knowledge about the MS in counseling. I know a lot of the individuals here with us today more than likely have made some contact with the admissions office. So I know they truly appreciate more in-depth detail about the program. But going ahead, and as everyone can kind of see in the screen here, you'll see again what we require in order for you to be considered a complete applicant. I will start off with saying that our deadline for the fall of 2025 is January 8th of 2025. So you have about a month, maybe a little bit less, to complete your application if you're considering to start here in the fall of 2025. I will also just kind of make a side note, right? We are in the month of December, so in a few weeks here, a lot of universities will start slowing down for the holiday break or the winter break. So I definitely encourage everyone who's thinking about applying for the fall of 2025 to start the application sooner than later. But as you can kind of see here, right, you're going to need the online application. You want to go directly through the SOE, the School of Education website, to access the online application. There is an $80 application fee that we will ask you to pay. We generally do not give fee waivers unless you meet a set of criteria. So if you want to inquire, feel free to send an email here to the admissions office. You will also be asked to upload a resume, right? So we want to see, right, what have you been doing, whether it's during your undergraduate career or if you've already graduated from your bachelor's degree and are a working professional, right? What kind of experience do you bring? There is also an essay / personal statement that we'll ask you to write. We give you the space of about, I think, 2 to 3 pages. You will get kind of the nuts and bolts of what we require on the online portal application. But generally, we ask you to answer 4 prompts or 4 questions. So please, right, as you kind of start writing that essay, read those questions very carefully because we are looking for responses for those questions that we ask. Additionally, there are 2 letters of recommendation. So you want to start thinking about, right, who in my academic or even professional experience, career, can I defer to write me a positive recommendation letter to the program? Just as a general tip, I would always recommend applicants, right, as you communicate with your recommender, just assure that you're giving them the title of the program, right? Maybe the website, maybe the mission statement, the program goals, right? Do everything that you can do to set up your recommender for success. There isn't a preference in terms of whether we need 2 academics, 2 professional ones. We allow you to kind of use your judgment. But again, if you need more guidance or just have more questions, feel free to reach out to us here in the admissions office. And then to no surprise, right, we'll need to verify your academic career. So we'll need to see official transcripts from all post-secondary institutions that you've attended. And then there is no GRE required, and we do not take GRE exams. So even if you've taken the GRE exam, if you were to send it, we're not going to consider it as part of the application review. So moving on here, I know, like I mentioned, as we started earlier, we do have a lot of students who are coming from outside of the United States, right? And that may, find themselves as international students. So we do have a separate web page in the School of Education that dedicates itself that you can kind of refer to. And I think it's that 3rd bullet point that I have there. So if you were to go to that web page and you want to kind of bookmark it for later down the road, it's going to give you all the information that we require for international students. So we'll require a passing score of IELTS and TOEFL or TOEFL, one or the other. And then we will also need a course-by-course evaluation of your academic credentials if your degree was outside of the US or Canada. There are a various set of credential agencies that we will take evaluations from, WES being kind of the more popular one that we see, but there are 4 others. Again, you can defer to that link to that website to see the other agencies that we do require. Timeline, I kind of spoke about this already at the beginning. So our deadline, kind of the big key takeaway in terms of admissions for these two past slides would be, right, deadline is January 8th. So you want to really start getting that application complete. You're probably, are going to be hearing from me in the next few days to the next few weeks, just checking in, right, if you need any guidance in completing your application. Once your application is complete, then you also want to be working on completing your FAFSA if you're eligible to complete that form. We will be releasing a scholarship application to students who apply to the program in the next coming weeks. So just keep an eye out for your email for that scholarship application. But generally, our deadline would be April 1st to submit the scholarship application for endowed scholarships. And then classes, again, will start in the fall of 2025. The other piece that I didn't mention earlier as part of kind of the admissions timeline is after you submit your application, right, you might hear back in terms of next steps, which includes a half-day interview. So we typically give students the option of either doing that half-day interview either in person or through Zoom. So as you can imagine, a lot of our international students, right, may opt to choose to connect with us through Zoom. And if you are local or can make it work, right, there is that in-person option. So when it comes to tuition and fees, again, just to remind everyone, we are a 60 credit program. And for this academic year, we ran approximately $1,200 per credit. So if you're looking at a 3-credit course, you're looking at $3,600. There is a registration enrollment fee every semester of $175. And then additionally, there is an $80 application fee. Before I move on here, right, the other piece that you want to consider as you kind of are exploring your opportunities and next steps in your academic career or educational career is when it comes to cost, right, there are billable expenses, for example, tuition and fees that you will receive a bill from Johns Hopkins, but there are also non-billable expenses. So if you are going to be relocating to Baltimore, right, you want to be thinking about housing, you want to be thinking about things like food, transportation, right? All those things do add up. And you might see some variations, like if you defer to our financial aid webinar that we had about a month ago, you'll see the cost is a little bit different just because they do consider non-billable expenses in terms of your cost of attendance. So again, just kind of keep that in mind. I don't want to kind of have that catch you off guard. We also have a financial aid team here in the School of Education. So as you kind of go through the application process and you start working and complete your FAFSA, or even if you're just an international student, right? Don't hesitate to reach out to us here in the enrollment office. Our financial aid team does offer virtual appointments through Zoom on a weekly basis. So if you want to schedule a one-on-one appointment to discuss the cost a little bit further, you're more than welcome to do so. And then, no, that's all I had to say for that. Moving on there, when it comes to financial aid scholarships, so you'll see on this slide some external scholarship resources that we would always encourage you to start looking at. So for example, scholarship.com, teacher.org, and then we also have partial base scholarships as part of the School of Education. So like I mentioned before, there is going to be a separate scholarship application that you will get notified to complete, with the deadline being in early April. For international students, so I know I typically do get the opportunity to connect with a lot of international students. We do have specific funds for international students as well. They are also partial based scholarships. We don't offer any fully funding opportunities. So again, the key thing is you want to start getting that application complete, your FAFSA complete if you're eligible to do so, so that way, we can kind of kickstart the process for scholarships. You'll see some numbers there on the slide, right? 82% of degree-seeking students here at the School of Education, borrow graduate loans through the federal financial aid. So yeah, if you have further questions about this, don't hesitate to reach out. There is a virtual webinar financial aid session for counseling that we did about a month ago. So if you want that link to that, feel free to send us an email. But moving on from there, well, I guess we're now at the Q&A session. So hopefully, the last hour here with us has provided you a lot of in-depth information about the program. But we're going to go ahead and transition to the Q&A. So I'm going to go ahead and take a look at it. I know Dr. Burt was kind of fielding some questions. So I'll just kind of go in the way they're kind of put out here. So we have an individual asking, right, are there no prerequisite courses? As someone who did not major in psychology, right, how likely is it that I could be accepted, or the acceptance ratio? So I can field that question, and Dr. Burt, Dr. Lauka, feel free to add anything or correct anything. So our qualifying in terms of degree is a bachelor's degree from an accredited university or college or institution. We don't require a degree in psychology or in the social sciences. I don't have numbers in terms of a ratio of students in the past or historically that have been admitted with a different bachelor's degree, whether that's business, law, or so forth. So I will say though that in the admissions office we do see a diverse set of pool of applicants, right, who are making career shifts. So I would encourage you to apply, even though you don't have a degree in psychology. From the admissions perspective, right, we like to see applicants who have been taking formal, concrete steps to show that they're interested in the field. So if your degree isn't in psychology, correct, right? Are you, you know, volunteering in a crisis hotline? Are you volunteering in the community, right? So you want to start thinking about how can I supplement my application to show, right, that there is an interest and that I align with the field of clinical counseling. Dr. Burr or Dr. Locke, I don't know if there's something else you want to add to that.
Well, that was well stated, and particularly, we're certainly in agreement in terms of um, we are really embrace a wider range in walks of life and backgrounds that people might find themselves into this profession. And if you don't have a degree in psychology, I would say even if you do have an undergrad in psychology, that's exactly what we look for in terms of how are you really committing to and investing in this interest, in terms of volunteering, in terms of engagement, and maximizing other opportunities that are outside of the classroom that align with the counseling profession.
Thank you. So the next question is, what steps what are the next steps to becoming an LCPC besides taking the national exam at the end of the program? And I know we touched a little bit about it, but Dr. Burr or Dr. Locke, if you just want to reiterate in terms of what that looks like, especially going from, I think, what they call a graduate level license to a full license.
Yeah, no, I can certainly be happy to field that. So I will first say that, of course, licensure is regulated by the state. At the same time, there are fairly universal requirements and progression. So within any state, it's required that once you graduate, there's an entry phase, whether it's in Maryland, it's the licensed clinical or graduate professional counselors. So it's the LGPC, and this is considered your associate level license or a provisional license. So this is where your first entry point where you get hired somewhere. You have to identify and secure a board approved supervisor. Now, different states, they have different qualifications and specifications on who that is and what that entails in terms of supervision. But what that equates to is 2 years of full-time, more or less, clinical work while you are under the direct supervision of an approved supervisor who is, a licensed clinician, of course. And through that time, through the accrual of hours, depending on the state, there may be an additional exam that you have to take. Some states, the NCE is the only licensure exam, but you will also have to, again, accrue those hours and successfully complete those hours and be approved by your supervisor to be to sit for or to apply for the LCPC. And then once you do that, then you can practice independently. But up until then, you have to work under the actual the direct supervision. You can't just have your own independent solo practice without having that layer of supervision.
And can I also piggyback off that too? What Dr. Locker said is absolutely correct. Licensure is a state process. There is the national compact that if you get into the program, you'll find out more about. But the states really, I don't want to use the word dictate, but mandate what are the procedures, because for those that may want to go to New York, they don't require the NCE, but they require the NCMAC, the National Clinical Mental Health Counseling Examination. So we do, I mean, it's CACREP, we're CACREP accredited, but we do provide licensure for Maryland. But if you go somewhere else, you do have to check the state requirements because they may differ just a smidgen.
That's a very good point, Dr. Bird. There are a few states that have very specific additional requirements. There may be some additional coursework. For example, in California, that requires an entire course on psychopharmacology alone. There's other emphasis in, I think, in Florida as well, in California on human sexuality. And probably some others, and with all states also there is a jurisprudence or a legal and ethical exam you have to take as part of that process too, which is fairly straightforward in terms of applying the code of ethics, and how specific counseling related laws that it might is important, you'll be tested on essentially. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Thank you, Dr. Burton, Dr. Lago. So I was kind of looking at the Q&As that we received, and I think there's a theme, right? And maybe it'll help if we can kind of paint a picture here. So students are asking what our acceptance rate looks like, right, in terms of the applications to receive, but also what do classes size look like within the program. So I can start off at least with the admissions side of it, and then I'll defer to Dr. Burton, to Dr. Locke in terms of what it looks like once you're admitted and starting
Answer that
classes.
though. Like I did, there were a few, so I did answer the class size and the cohort already. So if you tackle the first part, that's why I haven't responded to some other ones, because I've already typed that in there. So they may have come after that, but I did type the size and the cohorts. So please.
Yeah,
Go.
yeah, no, definitely. Yeah. So if everyone here that is interested in learning about what the class size looks like, you can look at the answered list of questions and you'll find the answers there. But when it comes to admissions, generally, what we tell students or applicants, we are a competitive program. Our acceptance rate generally is around that 23 to 24%. Historically, we get over 600, 700 applications per recruiting cycle. And I believe last year's class started around 75 students approximately. So that kind of gives you an idea in terms of the competitiveness. Right, and like I said, mentioned earlier, that's why it's key as you're walking through the application process to assure that you're answering all the prompts fully.
I just add, and I guess I didn't read Dr. Bird's response, and maybe you already included that with regard to class sizes, just referencing one of the benefits of being an accredited program are the ratios. There's a requirement that there's a certain class size and course ratios, and particularly when you're in practicum internship. In practicum, it's very small, so you have a lot of focus and attention, and it's capped at 6 students, and internship only 12. while of course the larger content courses, they're a larger class size as well.
So there is another question here, and Dr. Burt and Dr. Laka, you might have more knowledge to answer this. Is, do you have any courses that cover mental health interventions for the IDD population?
Hmm.
I would need a little bit more information what the acronym IDD stands for because I'm not familiar with. I'm not sure if you are, Dr. Laka.
I don't want to assume if it's an intellectual
Yeah.
or developmental disability, but I don't know.
Okay, individual. Okay.
I am not certain.
Yeah, and it looks like they just clarified, yeah, individuals with developmental disabilities.
Hmm. What's that, Dr. Bird?
I would say, from my understanding, not really that deals with that. You could have school counseling that deals with exceptional children, but for the clinical mental health, none that directly address that. But just correct me if I'm wrong there, Dr. Laka.
No, I think that's correct. Part of the challenge is, again, we have a broad scope of license, which also means that a lot of many different avenues to specialize in. And once students leave the program, there's also a sense of additional onus on cultivating your specialty between those pre-licensed to full licensed years. We have a large number of educational standards that we address within the 60 credits. And we are also sensitive to how much it costs students to be here. And so, we also are reluctant to add additional courses beyond a 60 credit hour. Otherwise, you're getting closer to having a doctorate instead of a master's.
Thank you, Dr. Locke and Dr. Burt. So I do want to be mindful of everyone's time here. So we were scheduled to end at 3 p.m. So I'm going to go ahead and conclude today's webinar. Again, I want to thank everyone for taking some time out of your day to learn about our MS in counseling here at Johns Hopkins School of Education. And I want to thank Dr. Burt and Dr. Locke for also giving us some of their time to really give us more in-depth knowledge about the program. Moving forward, if you are interested in applying, I do offer individual appointments throughout the week. I know I have some availability still tomorrow on Friday. If not, my calendar is open for next week. I did drop in the chat box a link with my scheduling calendar, so feel free if you want to take more time to chat with me to talk about the application process or even the program itself to schedule for one of those appointments. But other than that, thank you everyone for being here today and have a wonderful evening.